Amitabha Buddha. Hello everyone, so this video will be our last video on the reincarnation cases in Pingyang village. Usually when we read about reincarnation cases, people just recall their past life as humans. But in this book, there were quite a few cases where people recalled their past lives as animals and also as ghosts. So today I feel like sharing a few more cases where animals and ghost beings reincarnate into humans. So animals and ghosts can also reincarnate into humans and vice versa. So it's 6 realms of reincarnation: the heaven realm, Ashura, human, animal, hungry ghost, and hell. So it's not only human to human, but also ghost to human, animal to human, vice versa. So in this case, there was a boy called Yang, and when he was about 2 years old, he remembered his past life as a white pig. So one day he saw this grandma was cutting a type of pigweed, and he immediately shouted at her to tell her not to cut it because it's very spicy. And the grandma saw this little boy. "How did you know about this?" And he said, "Because I was a white pig in my past life." And the grandma was just laughing and thought he was joking and asked, "Well, who's white pig?" And he said, "I was May's white pig." So May was another family who lived in the same village. And May had a few pigs, and Yang used to be one of those pigs. So I'll refer to his pig life as Yang the pig. So when Yang was a pig, May used to cut all different types of grass and plants to feed the pigs. And Yang the pig was very picky. He was the picky eater, and he would only eat the type of grass that he loved to eat, and he would leave out the rest. And one day, May decided to sell all his pigs. And when the pig knew about it, he was the first one who ran out and ran into the mountain, trying to escape from this destiny. But unfortunately, he was caught. And interestingly, Yang the pig remembered clearly who slaughtered him, because just before his death, for whatever reason, the other 2 pig dealers tell him, "Look, it was Yao who's gonna kill you." And he just looked at Yao for once, and then Yao just slaughtered him. So in this life, he remembered it was Yao who actually slaughtered him in his past life. And Yao's daughter, Li, happened to be the classmate with Yang in this life. And one day when someone asked, "Who slaughtered you in your past life?" and he said it was Li's father. And Yao came to verify this, and he was so shocked. And he swore that from then on he decided never to slaughter pigs, to kill any animals in his life. And in this life, Yang could never eat pork. Even if his mother really wanted him to eat some pork, to eat some meat, he could just never bring himself to do it. He could never eat any pork in this life. And another case was Yin. So Yin actually remembered 3 of her past lives. And the first past life was as a grasshopper. And he remembered that one evening when he just came out, someone stepped on him and he died. And the next life, the grasshopper reincarnated as a female pig. And this female pig also living in the same village, but she could not quite recall who was her master, but she knew clearly also all the types of grass or plants the pigs loved to eat. And the next life, or this past life, she was an 11-year-old girl, and she also remembered clearly how she died. So she said one day when she was catching fish in the river, and she was actually drowned. And in this life, she very much liked to go and look for her parents from previous life, but her current life parents stopped her from doing that. And one day also, when she was again catching fish in the river, she met with her mother from previous life, and she told her, and they verified all the details. And the mother from previous life was very touched to see her, and they kept in contact ever since. And another case, it was Xiao's case, very interesting. He also remembered 3 past lifetimes, and one lifetime he was the great-grandfather of him in this lifetime. And after that, his consciousness reincarnated as a bull in the family. And the bull worked for 5 years for this family. And after the bull was sold to others, the consciousness stayed and lived in the shed for another 7 years. So usually this consciousness, they have strong attachment to where they were, so they often chose not to leave. After that, he reincarnated as Xiao in the family. So Xiao's father was actually the grandson of his third lifetimes back when he was the great-grandfather. The book actually provides a lot of evidence and how people verify his identities. And there was also another interesting reincarnation case that was recorded in this book. So there were two bulls that were fighting on top of the mountain, and eventually the bulls fell over from the mountain and they both died. On the same evening in the village, a young boy was born called Si, and after 3 days, another young boy was born called Jun. And Si and Jun, they both went to the same school. And also about when they were 2 years old, they could start record their past lives as bulls. And they also remember how they fought with each other and they all fell over from the mountain. In the book, it also recorded a case where someone was actually killed by another person. And then after that, the victim reincarnated back, and the victim could clearly identify who killed him in his past life. So we've also seen similar cases like this around the world where people could recall who actually murdered them in their previous lives. And also what's really fascinating about the accounts in this book is that there were also people who remember they actually worked for the Yama. So the Yama in Buddhism is also known as the law of hell, who is in charge of the underworld. So these people, they also work for the Yama, they work for the underworld, and sometimes they will receive orders to go and catch other spirits when their time was up. So anyway, if you're interested in learning more about this, you can go and read this book. And one may ask why we don't hear people from heavens and hells. So first of all, it's not so easy to ascend to the heaven. One has really to cultivate the 10 good deeds like we talked about before, and the 10 evil deeds for the hell realm. And also, for one who actually fall into the hell, the lifespan is very, very long. Also, like the heaven, they also have extremely incredibly long lifespan. So it's likely that these beings, they are still up there or they're still down there, so they can't reincarnate as humans to tell you, or even after they have reincarnated, they may not remember of what happened in their past lives. And for exactly what reason so many people in Pingyang village can recall their past lives, it's unclear. But for the people in Pingyang, this is the norm. And they also all believe in reincarnation. So that's why it's actually important for us to exit the cycle of samsara. If we don't exit the cycle of samsara, our suffering here is just endless. Even in the human realm, already a lot of suffering, a lot of pain we have witnessed. Imagine what if we reincarnate as an animal and being slaughtered by humans. Worst, if we reincarnated as hungry ghosts. Really also a lot of suffering for the ghost. And what if we fall into the hell realm, right? So really countless sufferings. And it's most likely that since we've been in the cycle of reincarnation for so long, we have all been in all the 6 realms. We have all been many things in our past lives. So for Pure Land practitioners, we practice Nianfo, we recite the name of Amitabha Buddha, and we seek rebirth to the Pure Land. Once we obtain rebirth in the Pure Land, we will obtain infinite light and life, which is also our Buddha nature, and will be free from all sufferings in life. Will no longer be subject to old age, death, and illness, and will no longer be subject to any kind of sufferings that are in the cycle of reincarnation.